appreciate that. So then that changed. The next question is what do we do for, you know, the numbers and the articles and the newsletters? We're just going to stop doing all that. just going to give up on it altogether and call it good. Youth director position, and then we will begin following through on replacing Bunny with someone new. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we will be stronger. It's going to make for quite frankly, it gives a pathway for people to move up within our organization, which that's always important. Whether Bunny goes for ordination or goes for something else, we don't know yet, but that's part of the process. As I told her, no one stays a youth director forever. But ultimately what we'd like to do is give her a way so that she can grow and continue to move up in the church and do wonderful and fantastic things. And I am really looking forward to having you as a partner in ministry in this regard. So I take it by your applause, you're excited about this as we are?
Thing I want to do is take a look back at this summer. It was a great summer. We had a bunch of people sent to camp. We had 24 going to elementary camp and 22 went to confirmation. And we had a very meaningful time with 33 people at the high school youth gathering. It was phenomenal. And then next up is Vacation Bible School. We had an average of 80 kids a night, which is more than I've ever seen. Usually we start out with about 120 people all together, and then it filters down to about 75. We had over 80, or right at 80 a night, just kids. And adults, we had, the whole choir room was absolutely filled. We had a first-time special needs program by Brenna Chaffee, and we had more non-members at Vacation Bible School than any other year in recollection. It was amazing. Looking forward, goal number 1, get Sunday school back on track. September 9th is our deadline. If you'd like to be a Sunday school teacher, please come see me after service. Goal number 2 is we are going to do a better job at encouraging and empowering our volunteers to do ministry in whatever aspect of ministry it is that you're doing. And we're also going to begin a cross-generational mentorship program. We have phenomenal people all sitting right here, right now. What would it look like if you adopted one kid and said, hey, I haven't seen you in service. Hey, happy birthday. Just nurturing these kids and letting them know of these connections. Many of you already pray for them, but they don't know it. Let's create those bonds. And that's it for now. If you have any questions, come see me after service. I'll be here. Thank you so much for your support in all this.
Yeah. Hit the ground running. I'm excited about this. So when we saw that, when we learned that Emily was leaving, one of the things that the pastor asked us to do in this process was to think and pray, of which we did. And my encouragement to the council was, let's get out of the box. Just because we've always done things a certain way doesn't mean we have to always do it that way. And this is a pretty interesting out-of-the-box idea, because we're actually kind of merging two high-level parts of what Bunny is going to be doing and then recreating something underneath that, which is more the experiment part. Are we going to get a person full-time? Are we going to get 2 people part-time? That's the experiment part, and that's the part that we want to take our time and as we separate job descriptions and get things tied together with that. Yes, you in the black.
I just have a question. So she's heading up the youth spiritual growth group. So does that include adult spiritual growth, or do we have someone else that's thinking about the adults for their spiritual growth?
That's such an easy question. I'm going to let Pastor handle it.
Yeah, there you go. The short answer is she's focused on youth at this point. And Carrie has been doing a lot of our adult spiritual care or adult education stuff up to this point. And I don't see any reason why I'd want to interfere with that and let her and Bunny work together to figure out if there's holes that need to be filled.
All right. That brings that part of our report to a conclusion. Excited about having Bunny in this role. Just a couple more quick announcements, and then we'll be adjourning on time. And so we'll keep up with that. Jim Lemieux and Kirk Hellberg are heading up our stewardship campaign this year. Neither one are here, so I'm going to give a little update of what they're providing for us as we're starting 2019 planning, really. And what Jim wanted us to know a little bit about is what our campaign is going to look like this year as well as over the next 3 years. We have decided that we're going to build off of our mission to invite, inspire, and include. So over the next 3 years, our focus this year will be invite, next year will be including, and then or inviting, including, and then inspiring in year 3. This 3-year program is going to really try to drill down in those 3 areas that are very integral to our mission statement. Our game plan for this year is that the campaign will kick off similar to what we've done in past years, starting September 23rd and running through October 21st. Some of the things that you've seen in the past will look familiar, but Jim and Kirk are also kind of taking things in a new area and want us to explore our own personal growth in a different way than we have before. So there's a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be covering, and more to come as we get past Labor Day and starting September 23rd. Last couple of things. Just wanted to give you an update of what we're working on at the council level. And in addition to advancing the strategic plan and keeping that moving, we're beginning the process of starting on our budget for next year. One of the things that Dennis and I wanted to get started was just starting the budgeting process earlier in the year, and so I'm carrying forward with that of having first drafts in front of the council several months before you need to see it and approve it at the January meeting. That helps the stewardship campaign, and it also helps all the ministries in terms of what they request in terms of funding, what we think we can provide, and then any adjustments that happen with that. The second part is that we're beginning the nomination process for the 2019 church's council election, determining which council members are going to remain in the middle of their terms and what positions are open, and then how many positions we'll need to fill with that. Tied to that is an initiative that has been identified in our strategic planning process, and we call it, for lack of a better name, a Future Leaders Initiative. A list got generated last year as the nominating committee was determining who would be asked to serve on the council last year. And we had this pretty impressive list of folks that we thought would make good church council members. And from that list, we actually wound up filling 5 positions with new people. It was a pretty large group of new church council members last year. Normally it's 2 or 3, and it was 5, so it was a bigger deal. The nice thing about it is all 5 candidates that we did ask said yes, and we didn't have to go any further into that leaders list. That leaders list, we want to try to do some things with those folks that we've identified. And they don't know who they are yet, and a small group of people knows about that list, and we're not going to rush into all the things that we could perhaps do in terms of leadership development and awareness with those folks, but we're going to start doing some things that if you were a really big church, you probably ought to be doing it. And that's kind of a sub-theme inside our strategic plan, is that we are a growing church, and we shouldn't wait till we're 300 members in church to decide what we're going to do with 300 members. We should start doing some of those things right now and acting as if we're already there. And that's one of the things we're going to do. So that's all I want to say about the Future Leaders Initiative, and I will not take any questions from that in case you think you want to ask that. We do have a quorum. If you have not signed in, please do. The sign-up sheets are on the back there at the narthex as we come in. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and then closing prayer. Jim and Dave. All right. Motion carried. Yes? Yes.
There we go. So, before we pray, just some housekeeping things. Number one, you may notice that the pulpit is sitting on this side. And if you didn't notice, I'd be stunned. I'm doing this more for our early service folks who may have noticed this. We didn't say anything, but while the kids were getting ready to lead worship this Sunday, it was Brooklyn who said to me, you know, Pastor, why is the pulpit over there? It should be over here. And I'm sorry, it was Brooklyn. Sorry. Which one do you want it to be? Well, fine. Both Brooklyn and Courtney both said to me, Pastor, one of them said to me, why is the pulpit over there? And I said, I don't know. It's where it was when I got here. And when we moved it over here, we suddenly realized that we could see these people over here. And we have a lot of folks who sit over there. And having them always to your face, you always kind of feel strange preaching from that vantage point. So by moving the pulpit to this angle, we actually are able to get more eye contact with the congregation. So we're going to experiment with it right here. And if you completely hate it... Well,
of course, now you can ignore the choir.
And so let me add that if you have a real problem with it, Jack is happy to talk to you about that all day long.
What if we don't want you to know what we're doing?
Yes. No. The choir always makes me nervous. Second thing I want you to know is because of the shift and change in positions, we're moving Bunny as far away from the secretary's office as we can possibly get her. And so she's going to move into my desk in the office on the far end, and I'm moving to the center office over there so that I can be incognito when I'm here. So, needless to say, a few movements, things shifting around, roll with us a little bit. Our goal ultimately is the same. We're just going to have to do it a little differently. Lord be with you. God, we give thanks for the work of the church, the challenges before us, and quite frankly, the people you've brought into the lives of all of this congregation and each other. Oh, use us, God. Change our hearts. Help us see the world as you see it. Our goal is to be a conduit of your good love. So we humbly all ask all these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
We stand adjourned.